Hello, welcome to this tree tutorial. I'm super excited. This is part of the Landscape Watercoloring Book that we all know and love. This is the second to last page, and it's actually going to be fairly simple and kind of repetitive, so that will help you if you're new to painting to focus on those little techniques. So without further ado, let's get going. I have my little paper towel to help with water control, 1 jar of water, my 24 color paint palette that we love. I use this in all my tutorials now. You can find it on my website, and yeah, you can get it as a bundle or all separately. This is my new, you guys, you're the first to see this. These are my new brushes. I love my old ones. They are fantastic. If you have the old ones, those will work great. But they're, just with everything else, it's always good to evolve and get higher quality. So I'm going to be using size 8 today, and I like to keep this so don't lose it, just so that we can put it back and make sure things stay nice as long as we can. So I'm just going to set this to the side for now. All right, let's mix our greens. So we have this tray over here that we can pull from or mix our colors in. So I'm going to grab this light green. And I would like this tree to have some vibrance, but most of it will be those pretty neutral tones. So I am going to add some of this yellow in. And also some purple. That's a great color. I'm going to do a darker one, so we're going to pull from this third to the top. Same, grab some of the purple. I like those two colors. Maybe just pull straight from this one. And if we want to add yellow in there, we can totally do that too. But we are doing a dabbing technique for this. Going to be fairly loose. We're going to start with, maybe we will start with like a yellow or an olive green that we have right here. And so we have our 3 colors. I'm going to grab this one. And you're just going to kind of start dabbing all around with the tip of your brush. You can go at it as like an angle if you want some more like tip looking leaves. But then what's fun is you just start mixing in. This is our base layer, and we are just kind of dabbing around. I feel like this is a little bit more watery than I would like it to be, so I'm adding more pigment. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Coming in, grabbing some more of this green, blending it in. How pretty, very loose. There's some light reflection with the lighter greens, and we're just going to kind of work around. If you don't want all of these sections to blend together, you can work in, like, wait for this to dry while you do over here, and then work this way. So you're kind of bouncing around. So yeah, let's do that. This is gonna be our base layer. We can come back in with more detailed leaves once this is dry. So without further ado, let's get painting. See how leaving a little bit of white space shows some reflection? I'm starting to pull kind of straight from the tube because my brush has enough water on it for this darker color. It's turning out so pretty already. I don't love this top section, but we can let it dry and add on top of it. I'm leaving some white space in between these bunches of branches. And I'm not being overly careful to stay within the lines because we can just kind of cover them. It's just a guide on where those leaves can go. Awesome, so I'm going to let this dry and then we can come back in and do some more detailed leaves to bring some of that forward. And then we'll come in and do the branches and the greenery, the grass, field, and sky. Okay, so now that it's dry, you can look at it and decide for yourself if this is something you're proud of or if you want to keep going. I love loose, so I honestly would be fine to leave it the way it is. But if you're someone that wants to add a little bit more dimension, this is how you're going to do it. So you can grab the colors that you've already mixed, and we're going to do a wet on dry technique. And this will help with the contrast and to just build. So like here, if you wanted to do little leaf shapes. And you can do that really just by like putting your tip down and barely touching it and then lifting back up. See how that creates these little tiny leaves? You honestly could go in and do like just more dabs building on top. So I'm going to do that a little bit to add in some areas, but that's about all we're going to do. But obviously you can do as much as you want to do. Now we're gonna come in and do some grass. And because it's a field, I'm not gonna do any crazy like lines and whatnot. It's just gonna be a horizontal wash, which looks like this. We can get some yellow. I'm using the body of my brush and I'm just kind of doing a flat wash all the way across. I really love this color. And if you want, you can just grab your wet brush and pull that color down the closer you get to this bottom area. And if you can be careful not to get on the tree trunk, but if you do, it's not the end of the world. Because you're gonna be doing brown on that, so. Awesome. If you notice that your paper is starting to warp a little bit, you can tape it down or just hold it with your fingers a little bit, but that does happen with watercolor paper. Okay, if you wanna add like some areas of more green into your grass, we could even add a little bit of more of like a purple tone. Like use the green, but lean into purple more, and this can be like a shaded area. And then I'm using my brush, cleaning it off, getting most of the water off, and then kind of using the body of that to blend this harsh line out. Okay, so we're gonna do our sky now, and then the last thing we'll do is our tree trunk. And I just want this blue. Maybe we'll use this pretty light blue that we have. And I want it really, and maybe a little bit of this second to the bottom. We'll mix the two together and add quite a bit of water. If you want, you can come in here first and do these areas. And you truly can just go over these branches. You don't have to be super strict about it. I would be careful with the horizon line, but we're gonna be painting over the tree trunk anyways, so I'm not worried about a little bit of blue showing through. And you wanna move kind of quickly while also being careful with the green. You can bring that in there. See, I'm just doing like the lightest wash of blue. Using the body of my brush to go quickly. If you wanted to switch to a larger brush, you could do that, and that will help you move and cover more ground faster. Especially with the sky being pretty open, not needing to be overly careful. Okay, there's our sky. Now we can make our brown, and I'm just gonna kind of use whatever square we have, and this darker brown or darker green that we were using, we can turn into a brown. And I think I want my tree trunk to be cooler, and because this palette doesn't have a cool brown, we're going to be adding our complementary colors to this. So with red, if you want to add green, And a little bit of blue will cool it down. Okay, so more blue than I thought. There we go. So I just used green, this fourth from the top, like a brick red brown, and then this blue. I love this blue if you can't tell. And then we're coming in and making our tree trunk. And if you want to, you can come in on one side like this, clean your brush off, dab it on a paper towel, and then use your brush to pull this color over. See how that gave it a really natural gradient to show that this side is more shaded than the other. And then you can come in with this color. This is something we do need to be careful with the sky to make sure that it's dried enough that we can get those lines that we want. Otherwise, it's just going to blend in with the sky, and we don't want that. And you can use the tip of your brush for this. If you're more comfortable grabbing a smaller brush, you can do that too. But you can get these smaller areas just by using the tip of your brush with light pressure. Now you can come in and add some shadows, come in under these leaves, maybe on the bottom half of these little branches. Okay, and we are done. I hope you're proud of your tree, and I would love to see it. Tag me on my Instagram. And yeah, I'll see you next time.